Hi team, 6th of January.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
We're on a mission
To discover
if there's a better way.
It's been a pretty rough start to 2022 for us. I started feeling poorly on New Year's Eve at the beach, which is where we decided to take the girls New Year's Eve. Got the girls on surfboards, which was absolutely awesome. But towards the evening there, I was feeling really quite rough. It was a lovely New Year's Eve, by the way. But
yeah, I happened to meet up with one of my ex-dance captains from years ago now. She's also a goddaughter of one of my brilliant friends, Kelly, and I hadn't seen her for a couple of years, so it was really lovely to see someone that I already knew. It really made me think about people that I already knew, that, you know, you don't have to kind of say, oh hi, I'm Katie, oh hi, this is what we're doing, this, you know, you don't have to do all the introductions, we could just pick up. Yeah, and that bit was really lovely, but you were feeling a bit ropey at that point, weren't you?
yeah, but it was great. And then so we came back here, and then sort of for 3 days I was battling quite an extreme fever and an incredibly sore throat. And in the end, I said to Katie, look, I think I've got to get myself to a doctor. Went to the doctor, diagnosed with something called strep throat, which once you do the research is really nasty. And then Katie was nervous that she was coming down with it. So we both ended up on antibiotics. And now's the 6th, and we're still not right. We're sort of battling through, and we're doing that thing that I think all parents do when you get poorly. You probably don't take the right time out that you need to get yourself back fully fit. I think it's a parent thing, isn't it? You feel guilty for taking time out. Both of us at the same
time. I mean, I'm all right. I'm not as bad as you. I've just got sore ears and stuff. But yeah, you don't sort of take the time that you're supposed to. Although a lot of people around here, they're very good at going, oh, I don't feel very well, and they don't come out for days, do they? And they stay in and they get better. And actually, we need to take a leaf out of their book. But the girls are all fine. So it is hard to just rest because they're like, oh, what do we do? And I'm like, oh, I don't know really.
Yeah, mind you, that said, the community aspect of this place really helped, because, you know, when I was properly poorly, there were times where the kids, you know, were gone for hours and hours at a time. They're running between people's houses, friends, and that's what's so cool actually about this supportive community, which is cool. But anyway, it's been a bit of a rough start, and of course when you're feeling really rank, it brings everything down with you. Like, my mentality has been poor in terms of just feeling positive, and yeah, it's been a tricky few days. But that said, Katie, you've been absolutely amazing in terms of cracking on with research into the next leg of our trip, right?
Yeah, so obviously I was starting to panic a little bit, and I also know that you're not very good with like spreadsheets and like organising his research. So I just in the evenings when the girls have gone to bed and he's been resting, I've just researched so many places. I think I'm on sort of 60 communities on the east coast of the States. So it was good to get that started and get that done, especially as I'm just so nervous about, you know, we've got this flight booked and then where the hell are we going to stay? But we are getting quite a lot of people saying, oh, we love your adventures, oh, we've watched you on YouTube, oh, brilliant. But our communities are saying no, because COVID's kind of picking up now. The next wave of COVID's picking up in the States right now, so they're all kind of saying no, which is a bit frustrating, obviously. And it does make, I mean, I've said to Campo, can we try and look at our flights to change them to like go to a country that's being a bit more open? because part of me is like, well, if we can't go and see it, what's the point? I mean, from our family point of view, going up the West Coast and having an adventure is brilliant, but that's not what we're here to do, and also that's not what people are paying to see. So I feel really bad that we can't necessarily see the communities. Well, at the moment, we're not being able to see all the communities in the way that we should be seeing them, and they're also feeling a bit bad for us going and not being able to fully participate in the life that they usually have. So yeah, we've sent a couple of emails back to people just saying we'd still love to come and see you. I think it might be for a few days rather than weeks and months like we will be doing in some of the other places. So it'll be a different part of the trip, but if we can just get a few different communities under our belts, then I think we'll still learn loads from just the interviews that you do. I've reached out to some quite sort of urban, very compact places, so lots of people kind of living under one roof but in different areas, so they still have their own space but they are kind of sharing more of the spaces, and they are kind of a bit less affluent, I guess, and less luxurious, which I think is a good thing for us to go and look at. And then I've looked at some communities that are quite similar to here, where people have built their own spaces within a community. And then I've also looked at, particularly because we're flying into LA, some of the very luxurious, I guess, again, communities which are basically a resort. So they've got a golf course and they've got like a mini shopping centre, and they've got all within their community and everybody lives around them. So there's lots of places like that for the over 55s, but there are also some places like that for families and young professionals, and also with multi-generational, so also with older people in as well. So hopefully we can see one or two of each of those types, and that will be good for our research, but fingers crossed.
Yeah, I suppose what's really cool about listening to Katie talking about that is like her being so engaged in that research element of this trip, because one of the big challenges for me is that often I feel like I'm just completely on my own with this, and you know, it's just very, very cool to see Katie doing all that research. And actually for me it's kind of essential, because when I'm looking at content and kind of like fulfilling that side of things, so I'm very much living in the present here at Lake Ecovia in terms of making sure that we are capturing content that is valuable for us and for our audience, and obviously for the documentary as well. It, you know, by the time you've done that, it leaves very little time to do the research bit, which obviously Katie's picking up the mantle of here. So that's absolutely awesome for me.
But you need to get on and do your magic now on some of the communities.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I will be, and obviously there's still a lot of work to do in terms of planning that trip. There is one thing that I am particularly contemplating in terms of the way that the US leg works, if we struggle with the community element of things. So the word that I constantly use, and you guys might be bored of me talking about it with this trip, is connection, human connection. And one of the ways that I think we can travel through the US is via human connection, and by that I mean that just because we don't necessarily have communities on board, there'll definitely be people that we could potentially stay with up the West Coast, and one of the things that I might look at doing is kind of putting almost like an appeal out by all our followers to say, look, would you be up for old-fashioned billeting of the Campbell family as we travel up the West Coast? And we make films about that connection between people and what we learn via different families as we travel up the West Coast. And in many ways, that is a community in its own right? It's just a smaller type of community, you know, that family network community. But what it is it's about connecting, and I think that it would be an amazing experience for us, but I think it would also be really interesting and rich from a content perspective. So I'm exploring.
I've never heard that, by the way. That's the first time I've heard that.
Well, I have talked to you about it. Maybe you chose not to listen.
Oh my goodness, no, I've never heard. So what, like host us, like old-fashioned sports talks and stuff like that? Never heard that before. But also,
well, I specifically spoke to you about it the other day. In fact, I used those exact words, like old-fashioned billeting in a sports talk. Maybe you just didn't listen.
I think you were talking to someone else.
No, I wasn't. Unless I was completely delirious.
You probably were, actually.
Which there is potential. But
potential?
Yeah. So anyway, that's quite an interesting sort of
I'm going to hone in
backup plan, and it might be that we end up in a little bit of a hybrid of those two models as we travel up the coast. Either way, I hope that it's going to be an incredibly enriching and interesting journey up the west coast. That I think is going to be a given. So there's lots to do between now and us leaving on the 17th. There's loads of filming still to do here. I'm filming this afternoon with a family, and the next day I've got lots lined up over the next few days, and it's going to be mad busy for me, filming, editing. So I think that's all our news for the minute.
What was that? Why?
Cornflakes.
Who?
Right, looks like we've got to go and sort out some cornflakes.
I don't know why we came with this orange plan.
No, we're very orange.
Quite like it though. I do like orange. Oh wait.
Okay, say goodbye.
Oh God.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. One thing I forgot to mention was that yesterday we went to an animal sanctuary, which was absolutely awesome. The kids have been so excited about seeing sloths since we got here.
And me.
And you. And we saw them alongside a load of other stuff as well, but it was just absolutely brilliant to go there, to hang with the animals, and it was a real highlight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really nice. It was really lovely to see all the volunteers, the kids that go out there for gap years or whatever, and see them in action, and we could find out about their day and what they have to do, and they're all in teams, and then they rotate round, and yeah, the animals were really cute. It was sad though, because of course they're all there because they were mostly stolen from the wild and then brought in as pets for these weirdos. And then they obviously can't be released back into the wild, but it was nice to see them, and they all seemed quite happy, didn't they?
Yeah. It was super cool.
The girls loved it, and they're asking the right questions, and they're doing some work on it now, actually, for homeschool.
Yeah.
I can see T doing something like that. She loves it, doesn't she?
So it's not all doom and gloom. We do have some fun. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.